10 years after its initial release, a racing title that has grown out of obscurity into an undeniable success, with player counts continually rising over a decade and a 90% plus like rating in a subgenre that's notoriously fickle, Kunos' little custom engine that could is receiving a sequel. With that successor title just days away, it's finally time for me to review the industry-changing racing simulator Assetto Corsa. To set the stage for this review, it's important to understand a fundamental aspect of what makes Assetto Corsa special: its mods. Developer Kuno Simulazione deliberately left a door open on the software side to allow third-party mod creators to utilize their game as a platform rather than a finished product. And that is how I will review this title, as a heavily modified racing platform rather than its base version. And in many ways, that makes AC like the ship of Theseus. If you replace every part of a ship, can it still bear the same name as when it first set sail? Or in our case, can you fairly review Assetto Corsa on PC if you drive it with modified graphics using a car and track that Kunos didn't publish, with physics that are enhanced by a service released post-development, racing on a multiplayer service that didn't exist for a decade after the Kunos team moved on to new titles? It's a conundrum to be sure, but where I land is that the game should be reviewed in its modified form in 2024. Otherwise, you'd be deliberately pretending that there isn't something better just a few clicks away. So to close this section, this review should be treated as a look at the current state of a platform rather than a scrutiny of a game. Credit and criticism doesn't entirely belong to Kunos, but nor does it belong to the modders. For example, if I'm driving on the 2024 ADAC Nürburgring Nordschleife circuit at night in this title, credit goes to the AC community for giving us the ability to drive at night, as Kunos regrettably left the weather and time of day features incomplete, but the enhanced 2024 version of the track wouldn't be possible without the excellent laser-scanned base version of the Nürburgring Kunos gave us. Shared credit, shared responsibility. Alright, let's dig into the review. We'll start the deep dive of this review by talking about the features in the UI, which will serve as somewhat of an overture for the rest of this video. The features of Assetto Corsa on PC are effectively limitless. You can customize nearly any parameter of your race or driving session using Content Manager. Content Manager is one of what those in the community refer to as the Big Three, the others being the Custom Shaders patch and Sol or Pure. From Content Manager, we get a new user interface replacing Kunos' factory UI entirely. The list of customization options is expansive and highly technical, and makes Assetto Corsa something like Excel in terms of the user experience, meaning that you can be proficient at it while utilizing only a tiny percentage of what is on offer. This is a good thing and a bad thing, and speaks to the common underpinnings of what most users' experience is in Assetto Corsa. You keep turning screws, and it gets better and better until it breaks, and then you turn a different screw. Most regular users eventually find themselves taking to forums to consult with the community for help resolving mysterious new issues. Custom Shaders patch updates can clash with Sol or Pure on select content, and even visual mods. Nearly all these issues can be put to rest with a quick adjustment or selection or deselection of the right option in Content Manager in a few quick moments. Finding that option that is causing the glitch can be a chore. Much like the cockpit of a commercial jet or the desk of a professional recording studio, the amount of available tweaks in Content Manager is daunting, but essential to its efficacy. Users can create their perfect sim racing experience with no practical limits on what can be customized. Content Manager isn't pretty, but most users can navigate it effectively after a few minutes of exposure. Then the proper learning starts. And we also need to talk about the Custom Shaders patch, or CSP. It's undeniably one of the most transformative mods ever created for Assetto Corsa, and almost certainly the most significant. CSP elevates the game far beyond its original capabilities and introduces myriad graphical, physics, and functional enhancements that redefine your sim racing experience. Graphically, CSP adds advanced lighting effects, dynamic shadows, and support for real-time weather systems, among others, and this transforms Assetto Corsa into a visually stunning simulator, helping the aesthetics keep pace with modern titles. But CSP isn't just about the visuals, it also enhances the driving experience. Features like extended physics, better tire modeling, and improvements to the AI make the game feel more immersive and responsive. It also brings modern conveniences like more dynamic car dashboards, better replay tools, and expanded multiplayer options. Importantly, CSP also enables more advanced car physics. With regular updates and support from the community, it has kept Assetto Corsa relevant and competitive in an ever-evolving sim racing market. In essence, CSP is the bridge that keeps the game fresh and modern, even after a decade. Lastly, to wrap up our look at the big three mods for Assetto Corsa, we need to talk about Sol or Pure. The Sol and Pure mods for Assetto Corsa are groundbreaking weather and lighting systems that transform the game's visual presentation into something that could rightly be described as spectacular when properly tuned. These mods work in conjunction with CSP to deliver stunning dynamic weather, realistic day-to-night cycles, and breathtaking lighting effects that rival even the most modern racing sims. Sol is the original of the two, and it introduced dynamic weather conditions including clear skies, rain, fog, and more, along with intuitive weather control systems. Its day-to-night transitions feel natural, with the sun and moon casting realistic shadows that change as you race through time. Pure is a more recent development, and it takes these innovations even further, and it offers advanced lighting algorithms and refined weather effects. Its emphasis on accurate light diffusion and shadow rendering gives Assetto Corsa an unparalleled level of immersion. With Pure, sunsets are warm and vivid, rain reflects light realistically, and nighttime racing is dark and atmospheric. Both mods offer extensive customization options, allowing players to adjust brightness, weather intensity, and environmental effects to suit their preference. Both Sol and Pure elevate Assetto Corsa's visuals and fill in the gaps in weather and time of day that Kunos left in their base title. The big three make Assetto Corsa on PC the most feature-rich title available. There's many other titles on the market that have more refined features, but none that have the breadth of options Assetto Corsa offers. It's a vast sea of choices, which is both good and bad, from modern GT racing to classic hill climbs, from violent lightning storms to peaceful sunsets in the desert, from frantic hot lapping to calming track walks. There's almost limitless ways to enjoy Assetto Corsa. Nearly any racing experience you can dream up can be created here. This is a credit to the outstanding foundation Kunos gave us, and to the innumerable creative minds that keep the community engaged. The drawback, however, is that instead of being designed to create the perfect experience of a specific racing-related focus, many facets are left imperfect. This imperfection can be found in the game in such examples as incomplete livery sets for a racing series, mod tracks lacking key details, or main features or content being blocked behind a paywall. No game can offer up more to its users than Assetto Corsa at this point, but it's important to understand that the edges aren't always polished. Next up, we'll be highlighting another one of Assetto Corsa's strongest facets, the content. This title has evolved to now offer the deepest content pool in the history of sim racing. If you can dream it, you can drive it. Modern road-going supercars pushed to their limits at test tracks, prime Ayrton Senna McLaren cars recreated at classic F1 tracks, cruising rural UK roads in an open-top Porsche, or drag racing your daily driver in safe conditions. All this and a near infinite number of possibilities to drive are what's on the menu. Like the adage says, nothing is free. And in this case, the trade-off for the limitless racing playground is quality. I'll speak more about pricing later, but many of the modding teams whose work is synonymous with quality charge for their work. And navigating the landscape of free content for Assetto Corsa can be daunting. Many of these free offerings lack the quality one could reasonably expect from a racing title. Variability in detailing, scaling, sounds, and driving physics means that users aren't guaranteed an authentic driving or racing experience with their free mods. And to be fair, this also applies to paid mods. This is part of a larger topic that I want to briefly touch on. On average, the quality of paid mods tends to be higher than free mods. There is still variability in the areas I mentioned for the free mods, but that variability tends to have a higher floor with paid mods. The subject of mod pricing and membership-only mods goes away from the central idea of this video, so for the purposes of an Assetto Corsa review, I'll simply say that the buyer and user of Assetto Corsa should be aware that we are seeing an increase in the number of mods you need to pay for. There's still many great free mods being released, but the presence of paid content in AC has gone from a few teams to countless creators. Pricing models notwithstanding, the sheer volume of content on offer in Assetto Corsa is astounding. There are websites that serve as link repositories for cars that easily number in the thousands without repeats. Racing fans have become accustomed to crossing their fingers that a favorite car is brought to their go-to game, but with Assetto Corsa, it's virtually guaranteed that your favorite car has already been released. Similarly with tracks, circuits ranging from FIA Grade 1 to local karting circuits can be found with just a quick Google search. Even open world areas representing real roads can be added to the game for a fun cruising experience. Popular cars and tracks that have not yet been adapted to this title are increasingly rare, and more commonly the question we're being left with is whether the content is of sufficient quality to be enjoyed by purists. There's more content currently on offer for Assetto Corsa than any of us could reasonably hope to utilize in our lives. Sifting through the embarrassment of riches we have access to now is going to boil down to personal preferences and the quality of what's been released. AC's content offerings will continue to help the sim remain relevant years from now. Even as more racing simulators enter the market and raise the bar for graphics, sounds, physics, and immersion, it's unlikely that any title will be able to match the volume of content on offer in Assetto Corsa for a very long time. The accuracy of driving experience in racing simulators is contentious, to say the least. What used to be a debate between casual racing fans has now grown to include conflicting accounts of simulator accuracy from professional drivers. So it's difficult to judge how accurate Assetto Corsa is in terms of realism. And to flavor this section, I'll simply say that the physics within Assetto Corsa seem to generally align with real-world performance of analogous vehicles, but importantly, I'm not a racing driver, so everything I say here should be taken with a healthy grain of salt. It does seem that Assetto Corsa's physics are near the top of racing sims in terms of quality, even a decade after its release. The driving experience is highly nuanced, offering a tangible connection between the car and the road. This is often made immediately evident during a player's first experience in AC when making the jump from the likes of Forza or Need for Speed. Regular, infuriating trips into the grass or gravel traps are commonplace for those not used to simulation-grade physics, and although difficulty does not mean accuracy, the difficulty being born of proper braking distances and realistic corner grip gets us closer to understanding the real-world limitations of a car. Central to this realism is the functionality of the tires. Tires affect acceleration, braking, and cornering, and Assetto Corsa's tire model feels dynamic and realistic, with noticeable changes in grip as you push your vehicle to its limits. The end result of this tire model is realistic performing cars. Weight transfer and suspension dynamics are equally impressive, capturing the subtle characteristics of each car. A 1,000 horsepower Lamborghini supercar will leave all but a few cars in the dust to start a race, but racing-grade brakes and suspension on a 500 horsepower GT3 car will leave the Lambo in its dust past the first corner. Understanding the strengths and weaknesses of your car, the advantages created by those strengths, and the limits created by those weaknesses is what makes the driving experience in this racing sim shine. Knowing that your vehicle is lighter than your opponents and can brake a few car lengths later to overtake, or that your F1 car has incredible downforce to enable it to take a corner flat out and route to a new personal best lap time, or understanding and recreating Stefan Belloff's suspension softness to help you match his Nürburgring record are all examples of how Assetto Corsa's physics and associated driving experience are elite. To take full advantage of the experience of driving in Assetto Corsa, it's important to know that the game truly shines with force feedback. Using a quality wheelbase, you can feel the tiniest details, from road surface textures to tire scrub, when you're cornering. These details reinforce the strengths and weaknesses of each car and allow you to better appreciate the nuance of many of the excellent tracks on offer. Mods like Custom Shaders Patch and Content Manager add further refinement to the driving experience, allowing for deeper customization and content enhancements that bring the physics to modern standards. Assetto Corsa's overall presentation and driving experience isn't perfect though. Mods have filled in many, but not all the holes. Kunos' damage system did offer exterior and drivetrain damage, but these damage systems are underwhelming compared to other titles on the market. While there are damage mods that have been released, it still does not reach the level many race fans hope for. Similarly, racing essentials like rolling starts, manual pit speed limiters, and podium celebrations have been added to some degree over the years, but still come up short of other sims which have these natively. Even 10 years after release, the driving platform Kunos delivered and the incredible work creators have delivered based on that platform rivals modern titles. It's not perfect, and we do expect Assetto Corsa Evo to bridge many or all the gaps of AC1, but as a base on which to experience the deepest pool of content ever released for a racing title, Assetto Corsa holds up very well and allows players to experience a realistic creation of driving experiences only a few will ever get to try in the real world. Visually, Assetto Corsa's base game shows its age, but the modding community has elevated the game to levels few could have imagined. The Pure and Sol weather systems paired with Content Manager deliver stunning lighting and weather effects that rival the latest racing sims. With graphics mods, Content Manager settings, and updated track skins, the game can look breathtaking. With atmospheric sunrises and sunsets, variable weather and dynamic cloud coverage, and even active environments, Assetto Corsa remains a contender in visual fidelity if you're willing to put in the time to tweak it. One area where it lags slightly, even with mods, is in animations and details like crowds and pit crews. It's not a deal breaker, but it does remind us of the game's age and where Kunos needs to go with subsequent titles. Still, for pure driving immersion, the visuals, especially with the right mods, are a testament to how well the game has stood the test of time. Like all things in Assetto Corsa, the incredible experience comes with a trade-off. More specifically, there's so many options and possibilities on hand that it's prone to breaking by way of over-tweaking or by dint of the path through these options to the desired outcome not being evident. For example, checking a box for adding ground fog might not add ground fog, or a graphics mod that looks stunning in online photos may look blown out on your install. These issues typically boil down to the wrong setting being applied somewhere in Content Manager, and finding that setting can be a pain. This can break things in the game, from minor cosmetic issues to the appearance of any sky at all. The exhausting amount of options to tweak your visuals in Assetto Corsa means that you can create anything you want. There's videos on YouTube where you need to look very closely to distinguish Assetto Corsa from reality. Conversely, there are innumerable posts where users have broken their Assetto Corsa visuals to the point where their game is unplayable and they need help recovering their game. But for those willing to accept the settings of others or install a graphics mod and never touch it again, AC is visually stunning. One look at other driving sims that were popular when Assetto Corsa was released in 2013 will help you understand that Kunos made a fine-looking product, and the community has pulled the sim along into the mid-2020s looking as good as any title on the market. When we talk about sounds in racing games, it's easy to get hung up on engine notes. But the complete timbre of racing sounds includes tire squeal, transmission whine, suspension knocks, and maybe even turbos spooling and wastegates fluttering. By now you've probably noticed the theme to this review, so it won't surprise you to hear me say that the sound design in Assetto Corsa is functional, but not groundbreaking, but the modding community once again saves the day. Kunos delivered an overall impressive sound package, with rich engine notes ranging from throaty American V8s to screaming Italian V10s, but the overall audio lacks the richness found in many newer titles. However, sound mods from the likes of SHR Modding and Fonseca bring life to the audio landscape, delivering visceral engine sounds, improved tire screeches, and enhanced environmental effects. Whether you're bouncing over Road Atlantis curves or sliding over dirt on the Pikes Peak hill climb, mods elevate the auditory experience to modern standards. Assetto Corsa's sound design is yet another area where the base game's limitations can be overcome with mods. The sounds produced as a result are among the best we've heard ever in a racing title. And while there is variability in the sound experience in both base content and mods, the cumbersome and confusing experiences mentioned previously in the review that applies to graphics and user interface aren't typically present here. Just drag and drop a sound mod for your content you already own, or install new content that comes with its own excellent sounds, and you've got all you need. Sim racing is fundamentally trying to push your experience of sights, sounds, and feel as close to the real thing as possible, and so of course good sound is critical. Tweaking your sound levels is also possible in AC, and drivers can find their preferred balance of engine, wind, tires, transmission, and more. Assetto Corsa delivers big time in this category and gives the user an overall audio experiences few games can rival, and select sounds none can touch. A Google search and a few minutes of drag and drop work is all it takes to maximize your sim racing audio experience to levels you've likely never experienced. Assetto Corsa is incredibly versatile when it comes to hardware and software compatibility. From entry-level wheels to high-end direct drive wheel systems, the game supports virtually every piece of sim racing gear you can imagine. It also works seamlessly with motion rigs and tactile transducers, making it a favorite for enthusiasts building custom simulators. The integration of SimHub overlays and dashboards further enhances the experience, giving players the ability to create custom displays for telemetry, lap times, and more. Triple screen and VR support takes immersion to a new high, especially with performance tweaks available through mods. Many racing sims are limited in the number of concurrent peripherals, but Assetto Corsa has no such limitations. Separate wheels, pedals, sequential shifters, H-pattern shifters, and handbrakes can all be used in concert to create your perfect driving experience without having to unplug or replace components. And while hardware is not natively supported and selectable like in many other titles, reports of sim racing hardware not being recognized or supported as a generic controller in Assetto Corsa are exceedingly rare. Its open nature and modding potential ensure that Assetto Corsa remains one of the most adaptable sims on the market. This is a major contributor to its longevity. As sim racing hardware and computer components continue to evolve, AC is able to keep pace. Content Manager's elaborate setup options allow users to configure their unique setup to their liking, with very little risk of owning a setup that won't allow you to enjoy the title. Whether your particular setup involves an Xbox controller and a laptop, or triple 4K screens and a full motion setup, or something in between, Assetto Corsa's exceptional compatibility options allow you to enjoy driving your way. The single-player experience in Assetto Corsa has historically been its weakest point. The AI, while serviceable, can be inconsistent, ranging from overly aggressive to too passive. Racing against AI often lacks the nuance and unpredictability of human competitors. Career mode mods have breathed new life into single-player. Custom championships and community-created race series and detailed progression systems do make the solo play far more engaging, and the ability to create custom grids, adjust race parameters, and simulate real-world events adds to the replayability. These game modes are limited by the often disappointing AI, but for those not looking to race other cars, Assetto Corsa does have a best-in-industry hot lapping mode. Beating Max Verstappen's latest F1 pole time, or a long-standing road car lap record, is a fun and challenging way to experience Assetto Corsa. While the modding community does provide tools to help fill the single-player gaps and overcome the limitations of vanilla AC, it can still be very frustrating in a single-player race to race against the AI. But an excellent hot lap mode and the prospect of driving virtually any car imaginable at any circuit you can think of make it a surprisingly robust option for single-player driving enthusiasts, but don't expect to hop into a single-player AI race and have things configured correctly right away. Mods and tweaking of settings in Content Manager can deliver good offline racing, but be sure to allow yourself the time to configure something you will enjoy. Assetto Corsa's open structure allows for excellent online racing. Whether you're participating in casual track days, drifting with a friend, or competitive league racing, the game offers flexibility and depth. Community servers are the lifeblood of Assetto Corsa's multiplayer scene. From organized endurance races to casual drifting and cruising lobbies, there's something for everyone. Tools like Low Fuel Motorsport provide a structured platform for ranked online racing, adding a layer of competitiveness to the multiplayer experience. While the base game lacks some modern features like sophisticated matchmaking, the sheer variety of community events and mods ensures a thriving online ecosystem. At this stage in its life cycle, it would be excused if Assetto Corsa only had a few dozen people online in private servers, but the incredible level of current online participation shows how well the game is aging. Whichever path you choose on your Assetto Corsa journey, there's almost surely an online community to join to compete with or have fun with other like-minded users. Buying Assetto Corsa on PC during one of the frequent sales is perhaps the biggest no-brainer purchase in sim racing. For under $20, Assetto Corsa Ultimate Edition offers a healthy selection of cars and tracks and game modes without even talking about mods. Once we crack into the door of modding and add Content Manager and Custom Shaders Patch for free and open ourselves up to the incredible amount of free content on offer, the value reaches silly levels. Compared to many newer titles, Assetto Corsa punches well above its weight in terms of content, community support, and modding potential, and for those willing to invest the time to customize their experience, it remains one of the best value sims available. Wait for a sale, and as long as the purchase price is reasonable for you in your current financial situation, you can buy the game and be assured that you've made one of the safest purchases in the sim racing world. Assetto Corsa is more than just a racing simulator. It's a platform. Its legacy lies not only in its excellent driving experience, but also in the passionate community that has extended its life far beyond what anyone could have expected. As we look forward to the release of Assetto Corsa Evo, it's important to appreciate how much this title has shaped the sim racing world. From its immersive driving to the endless content possibilities enabled by mods, Assetto Corsa has earned its place as one of the greatest racing sims of all time. The skeleton of Assetto Corsa given to us by Kuno Simulazione allowed the talents of so many to flesh out a racing title that delivers so much to us. So whether you're a veteran or a newcomer, now is the perfect time to hop in and appreciate everything this game has to offer. Tremendous value, endless customizations that will grow with you as you progress through your sim racing journey, and the prospect of driving nearly any car at any track in any era make this a must-have for your PC sim racing life. Today, and likely years from now, Assetto Corsa will remain a staple of sim racing and one of the best ways to experience the thrill of driving and racing from the comfort of your homes. If you like this video, be sure to click the like button and subscribe for more content. And a special thank you is owed to Kunos for making such an incredible sim, and to all the talented and hardworking creators who took that sim to a place that has brought enjoyment to so many of us. And another thank you to you for watching this video and being part of my journey with and around Assetto Corsa. I appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.